Hello there, it's me, H to the Z, Phase 2, Week 1, predictions, the only week of Phase 2 where we won't be seeing those sweet, beautiful feet. It's the boots weekend, one final weekend of gameplay with boots before we get to the mid-season patch coming up next Tuesday. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the matchups coming up this weekend, what I think is going to happen, why I think it's going to happen. Yeah, just got done, went to the pub, watched the England-Denmark game, so I'm filled with rage. No, not really, but was a ridiculous decision. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of you do not give a rat's bottom about the football, so we'll get on with Smite. Final weekend of Boots gameplay. Worth noting that the servers have gone down a couple times this week during scrim time, so the teams who have left it a little bit later to scrim have not really had much prep time. I know that there were at least a couple teams that weren't really scrimming up until this week, and then I think Tuesday and Wednesday servers went down. This is Wednesday evening now. I'm recording in both days during scrim time. The servers went down. There's a couple teams who I would think would have been scrimming throughout. Probably the Bolts and the Titans and maybe the Scarabs would be the three that I'd put forward. Maybe the Leviathans as well. I'm not sure about the Leviathans. I always say this, but I feel like because I've never been involved in the league when the Leviathans guys have been there, I just don't know them as well. That's just the way it is. I just don't know them as well, so it's harder for me to have a judgment call on them. But yeah, I would expect the Bolts and the Titans to be the two that have been scrimming throughout. Whether that means that they're going to be better or worse, we'll find out. Anyway, let's get into the matchups for the week and let's say who we think is going to be taking home the dub. I did open Smite here. I didn't log in. Who cares, right? You know what? I opened Smite. I thought about logging in and I didn't do it. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's get into the matchups. Friday, Leviathans, Valks, Bolts, Warriors. I think on paper, two pretty easy matchups, and I'm going to go the way of the teams that you would expect to win. In my opinion, the Leviathans will come into this well practiced, well prepped. I don't know if they will have practiced that hard in the offseason, honestly, but I think even if they haven't, they're going to be the better team over the Valks. Loki, I think, is open, which is a big thing for the Valks, because now other teams don't just have to ban Sun Wukong, they've got to ban Loki as well, which brings their total amount of bans against the Valks to 2. Unfortunately for the Valks, you do get 3 bans at the start of the game, so they still don't have anything which scares me, I'm afraid. And I don't think they have anything which scares the Leviathans either. I'm going to put this one down as this is a best of 3, right? But I'm going to put it down as a 2-0 to the Leviathans. I assume it's best of 3. I hope it's best of 3. Otherwise, I'm going to look like a right dickhead, haven't I? But I think it's best of 3. I got 2-0 for the Leviathans. Bolts versus Warriors. Similar story. I still don't think the Warriors had a slight revival during the Phase 1 playoff qualifiers. The group stage. They then just instantly fell apart and looked as lost as they've ever looked in their core. In their actual playoff matchup in the semi-final. I think they will continue to look that way. I still just I can't see past the difference in the core here. Laspra, Jake, and Ven. I think Laspra and Ven are playing the best Smite, up there with the best Smite they've ever played, and that's saying something because Ven won an MVP at Season 4 Worlds. He was sick. But this is definitely the best he's been since then, the most consistent he's been, the most the meta's suited him, the best his God Pull's been. I really like the way Ven's playing at the moment, and Laspra is undoubtedly, I think, playing the best Smite he's ever played, the most consistent Smite he's ever played. You know, it's not just on certain gods when he gets them. It's not just in certain games. I feel like he looks good every game. When he gets... I've seen some comments on my Power Rankings video. If you haven't seen that, I mean, feel free to check it out. It's pretty long. You can just see my Twitter if you want to see the final list. But you might have to scroll a little bit. But I think Laspra has been a lot better on everything. People have said that, you know, he looks super comfortable on some picks and not so good on others. I don't agree with that. I think he has run games and looked good on basically everything he's played this year, honestly. I think he's had a great season so far. And that's why I think the Bolts will take down the Warriors, because in particular, Ven and Laspra versus Dardes and Cuvo, for me, it's not close right now. It's not a competition. As long as Ven and Laspra and the Bolts play around where they have that advantage, I don't think there's any doubt they're losing. If you're including Jake in that versus Neil as well, I think that's another big advantage. I think Neil has been... I mean, I don't know how bad... I think he's on about 120 in, you know, Western Canada, which is, you know, it's not ideal. It's not as bad as some of the EU players, but it's still really not great. So you gotta feel bad for Neil. I don't know when. I don't know if he has visa problems. I think he'll move to Atlanta fairly soon, but don't quote me on that. I haven't spoken to Neil in ages, and I haven't spoken to Neil about that at all, I don't think. I've heard whispers about things, but I think Neil will hopefully not be stopped by visa processes like the EU players have been. I don't expect any of the EU players to move in phase 2. That's just the way it is for me. I don't think anybody's going to make it in phase 2, which means I don't know. It means they're going to continue to struggle, and the league's going to continue to be not the competition that we want it to be, sadly. Anyway, my prediction is 2-0 Bolts over the Warriors. Sorry, there was a bit of a tangent there, but that's what we do. That's what Hayvering is. You haven't seen what Hayvering means? You can check down in the description below. It will be there, I hope, unless I forget to put it there. But yeah, Havering's Scottish means basically to just talk nonsense, to ramble. And that's what I do in these videos, so hopefully it's not too bad. Anyway, Saturday the 10th, we've got Oni Warriors versus the Valks. Valks, 2 games in a row, and the Scarabs versus the Titans. Oni Warriors versus the Valks. It's one of the more fair games we get for the Valks. They're playing against 3 on the other team on high ping. Not quite as high as Johnny's ping is, I believe. I think Johnny is the highest ping in the league, sadly, for the Valks. I really, truly believe that if this guy gets a decent chance on land ping, he's going to grow a lot and he's going to show a lot. He's a grower and a shower, is what I've heard. So, no, I think Johnny's a really good player who I would really like to see get his shot properly in the Pro League. I don't think what's happening right now is a fair shot at performing well, and I don't know. I have a lot of pity for the Valks guys right now. I can understand how hard a situation it must. I mean, I've not experienced it myself, but it must be so tough to try and compete with the best players in the world at a clear disadvantage. You know, you're trying to prove the way you are, and you're getting people putting Reddit posts up saying that, you know, the people on your team shouldn't be on the league, etc., etc. It seems really unfair. I feel bad for them, but nonetheless, I'm going to continue to pile on the hate and say that they're going to lose to the Oni Warriors. I got this as a 2-1 for the Oni Warriors. I'm going to say the Oni Warriors take this one down. Scarabs versus Titans. This is a good matchup. This is probably the matchup of the weekend so far for me. We might have a better one on Sunday in the Titans versus the Kings, but Scarabs versus Titans, I think, should be a highly competitive game. 2 teams who will feel like they need to step it up and feel like they're coming into a phase where they need to adjust. I think the Boots change could come at could be a really good mix-up for both these teams. I think these are two teams that could take an early couple wins off of the boots change and run with it. If they figure something out, if they figure some early build things out, some early gameplay things out that other teams don't, I feel like it could be really good for them. But alas, this is pre-boots change. For me, I think the Scarabs play style is probably going to play poorly into the Titans. I think the Titans... I think the Scarabs are better when they're kind of put under pressure and put under the cosh in the early game, and they're able to kind of come back from adversity. I feel like the Titans are just not very good in the early game, to be frank. Again, this is another team where I think the core still needs a lot of work. I think Cyclone and Benji... why this team looked so bad is their core was bad, and Cyclone and Benji were bad as well at the start of the season. I think Cyclone and Benji have stepped it up a lot. I believe Benji had some kind of school, some kind of studying he was doing, but I think he's looked a lot better in the second half of Phase 1 and in the playoffs, and I think Cyclone, particularly in the playoffs, looked a lot better. So I think this is a team on the up. I think as well, Paul, Scary, and Aurora just given more time together, especially Scary in the jungle role, given more time, given more reps. I think that's good for the Titans team. In this matchup, I'm going to give the Titans a 2-0 win. I just think it's actually a bad matchup for the Scarabs in terms of the way they play versus the Titans. So yeah. What did I have? Did I have 2-0 Warriors, 2-0 Titans? I think 2-0 Warriors, 2-0 Titans. That seems about right. I might have had 2-1 Warriors initially. Am I going to adjust that? Am I going 2-0 or 2-1? I need a hard commitment here. We have no half measures here on the Hayvering predictions. I'm going to say 2-0. 2-0 Warriors, 2-0 Titans. Warriors ban Loki. I mean, the other thing is here the Warriors get to see the Valks before they play them. The Valks get to see the Warriors as well, but I feel like it's way more of an advantage for the Warriors, honestly. Honestly, I feel like the Valks, the ping issues are just... They're both very limiting in terms of their actual performance, and they're also very limiting in the way that the players get to think about the game. I mean, they could lose a game and they could just be like, for God's sake, we played against Sobek, you know, I couldn't beads the pluck because the ping's too bad. We played against Herc, I couldn't beads the, you know, we gotta ban that god now, we gotta ban this god now, we gotta make sure we don't make it a good Ares game, because I don't know, I just feel like it's so unbelievably tough for the Valks right now. I feel like I think there's a little bit too much hate towards them and making fun of them, which is why I'm emphasizing the point, I suppose, because I really do feel like it's got to be so hard. It's got to be so hard. I feel bad for them. Anyway, yeah, those are my predictions for Saturday. Sunday, the final day of the weekend, as we all know. I'm sure you all know that Sunday, day of rest. Oh, Craig's here, by the way. You've not seen Craig. This is Craig the plant. It's looking good. He's in the shot today. Sunday, Jade Dragons versus Solar Scarabs, which I think is a better matchup for the Solar Scarabs. I think it's a matchup which they could win as well, because I feel like Jade Dragons coming off a tournament win will take a bit of time off. Probably only started scrimming back this week. Again, this is guesswork for me. I don't know what the Dragons have done, and I'm sorry if they feel offended. I think that way is just the way I see them. I think they like to take a week off, give themselves a bit of time, maybe travel back and see family. You do see them traveling a lot. The Dragons boys back to see family. PCAT likes to go back, and I think Sam likes to go back and see his family as well. So I think, which is it's not a criticism by me, by the way. You should 100% go back and see your family, and I think Smite is all about peaking at the right time, which the Dragons clearly did in Phase 1. They peaked at the correct time, and they won the Phase 1 playoffs. Do I think they will start the season well with a final Boots game. I think they will win, and I think they'll win 2-0. But I'm not. I don't think they'll be particularly convincing. I think they've probably taken a little bit of time off and maybe won't be as fresh. But I think they'll come in and take the win over the Scarabs. Jade Dragons just look too strong a team during the playoffs to write off in any match right now. I think until we see them fall again, they're going to be the de facto #1 team almost. But I think we will see them fall again, probably quite soon after the Boots comes in. I don't think for me those guys aren't really meta definers and big creators. I think they take things other people have done and do them better for sure. But I don't know if they create as well as others do. I believe even the start, I think I was calling it the Sam start, the start that we saw this season in SPL where the jungler was starting on red. I think other teams were calling that the Bolt start. So I think even that, not necessarily from them. I'm not saying that they're not creative guys. I just think that their strengths generally, from what I've seen, lie elsewhere. They tend to know how to play slightly further on from the start of the game, and they know how to play the map better than the teams, I'd say. But they don't necessarily create starts and things like that as much. I think they more abuse timers. I guess they abuse timers the best. That's what I would say. And then but yeah, I got the Dragons too. So I'm really rambling. I'm really havering today, am I? Our final game of the weekend: Tartarus Titans versus Camelot Kings. The return of the Kings. We haven't seen them in a little bit. They did not qualify for the playoffs. Will be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure they're another team who took a decent amount of time off scrimming. I was speaking to Samuel Genetics Harris earlier on, and he was saying that they were doing well in scrims in the few games they've been able to play, but they did. I know that they were a team that only really started scrimming back this week and missed a couple of sessions because of server downtime, which I think is very disappointing, to be frank, in a week where there was no patch. I try not to be hypercritical, but it just seems a little bit silly that we'd have this much downtime this week with no patch, but that's just me. I think this is probably the set of the week: Titans versus Kings for me. I think Scarabs versus Titans could also be very good. I think Titans are going to be involved in the two best games, unless maybe the Warriors show up against the Bolts. Those are the ones I'm looking at. I mean, I guess Scarabs should show up against Dragons as well. But anyway, I'm looking at Titans versus Scarabs and Titans versus Kings as my sets of the week. I'm going to say that the Titans go down 2-1 against the Kings. Kings take it 2-1. That's my prediction for now. We shall see. But at the end of the day, I guess I'll go back into full screen now. Hello, everybody. I'm back. It's my big, ugly mug. This week doesn't really... It's not important. Honestly, I think I would have liked to see the SPL pushed back by a week. I think this last weekend of Boots is just going to be superfluous almost. It's going to feel like a fever dream when we look back on it in a couple weeks' time. It's going to feel like I don't know. I don't like a week before the mid-season patch comes in, a weekend of Smite games being played. I understand they probably have scheduling issues, and there's reasons why they've done that, especially with the occurrences of last split and the fact that it became so tight, and they had to end up moving to a group stage and things like that. But it's tough to reconcile the fact that we're going to have 1 week pre-mid-season patch, and then how many weeks are there of this? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to count it manually. 5, 6, 7 weeks. So another 7 weeks of competition after that on the post mid-season patch. You couldn't even see me scrolling through counting the Fridays, but I counted seven 7 more Fridays after this one. Again, SPL this weekend, if you didn't know, we'll be back to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No Thursday until the 5th of August, I think it is. Yep, the 5th of August is when we go back to having 4-day Smite weekends once again. So we got a little bit of time where we have 3-day Smite weekends, which is good for me. Gives me a little break. And I can do these videos a little bit later than I would normally, which is nice as well. But yeah, that's I think that's all I got for you, chat. I'm excited for the no boots meta. I'll probably have some chat next week. I'll maybe try and play some games and have a think about what I think is going to be meta and get a video out next week with my predictions and also some SPL meta predictions. Let's hope so. I'll be live on Friday once again with SPL coverage, 6 p.m. BST is when that starts. 1 p.m. ET. I think it's EDT you're on right now. Yeah, anyway, whatever the Eastern time zone is that you're on right now. Eastern summertime. I think it's EDT. But I will be live around that time. I might even be live a couple hours before for the SCC, but no promises. Never promise the SCC. And I don't think, is the SCC even on right now? I'm pretty sure it's not. So yeah, I won't be live for the SCC. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure seeing you all again. You know who I miss? I miss Stereotype YouTuber. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? I don't know. I miss him. I will see you all again next week on YouTube. There will be a Jamillionaire VOD up as well. Funny story. I thought that my recordings didn't have music in them, but it turns out they do. So I totally goosed that one up, as they say in the business. But yeah, that's enough rambling from me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you this weekend for the SPL. Appreciate all your time once again. Love you all. Bye.